Hello, welcome to the Sacred Timings video series, where we will explore the transformative power of midlife transits and the gateways they provide to align with your life's purpose and highest path. I'm Swati Kameswar. I'm a nature aligned leader, visionary coach, and astrologer, and your guide through this series. So, here is a quick overview of what we will cover in this specific video. We'll start by talking about the transformative power of outer planetary transits. What are transits? What happens during midlife transits? Why are they important? And that is why do I call them sacred? What is the cost of ignoring this energy of the transits? And what is the gift of the transits? What can we hope to receive by walking through them consciously? And we will also look at the synergistic effect of these transits when more than one happens at the same time, which is often the case. And finally, I will share with you the topics covered in the future modules of Sacred Timings. So let's get started. Now, let's dive into all things transits. What are transits or sacred timings? Here I give you a brief overview of why transits function as gateways. So let's look at two aspects of the natal chart that I like to refer to, the static and the dynamic aspects. Let's start with the static aspect. Your natal chart represents the position of the planets in the sky when you were born. Now, this is not going to change. This static part of the chart encapsulates the soul's intent for this life. It's like a ready-made map for this journey through your life on Earth. In the sample natal chart in this picture, it is represented by that inner circle with the black symbols. Now, this moment when you were born and the natal chart holds clues to the expression of your soul's intent. For example, if your sun is in Pisces, moon is in Cancer, Venus and Mercury in Pisces, and Mars in Aries, all of these energies are aspects of you that give you clues to your authentic expression. And each of these zodiac energies has a full range of expression from the negative to the positive, the distorted version of the sign, and the highest essence of the sign. Embodying these energies in the natal chart and moving from the negative to the positive expression is the key to unlocking authentic expression. The natal chart is energy. It represents your potential. You have to act on it to embody it. Now, the dynamic part of the chart is when you experience transits that activate the static part of the chart. In this picture, it is represented by the outer circle with the green symbols, which show where the planets were in the sky. And in this specific chart, it is on April 12th, 2025. Now, a transit is the current position of the planet in the sky. And especially when this position coincides with something in your natal chart, then you experience it as a transit or sacred timing. This is a dynamic aspect. For example, if Jupiter is currently in Gemini, we say that Jupiter is transiting Gemini, and if the degree of Jupiter in Gemini coincides with your Chiron in Sagittarius, for example, then you experience that as a Jupiter transit or a sacred timing on your Chiron. Now, transits are like page-turning moments in your life. They are unlocking or awakening a new energy or consciousness within you and can give you access to a new and authentic gifts if you choose to work with them consciously. When we experience transits, it's like a combination lock turning and giving you entry point to a new version of you. So your natal chart holds information about static as well as dynamic energies, and using this information can help guide your way during midlife. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you go on a long road trip without a map? And sure, it's possible. Of course, it's possible, but it's way easier if you have a map. And the natal chart is similar. And by working with the midlife transits or sacred timings, you will experience your unique gifts awakening. And that's why I refer to them as sacred timings, because they awaken your unique and sacred authentic expression. Now, let's look at what happens during midlife transits. So there's a link between the symptoms of midlife crisis and the energy of midlife planetary transits. Transits refer to the movement of a planet through a particular zodiac sign. And when the position of the planet in the sky activates a certain part of your chart, you experience that as a call for change. Now, there are a bunch of transits that are standard that every person goes through during midlife, and they are related to the planets Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Chiron, and Jupiter. Now, the exact age will vary from person to person depending on the date, time, and place of birth. But these sacred timings or transits have challenges as well as gifts. They are meant to help us resolve and evolve and awaken higher expression through the DNA. Now, they push us to look beyond surface level success to see if we are in alignment with our purpose. And if we are not in alignment, that's where the disillusionment sets in. And based on your personal natal chart, there may be other transits that are activating it that may amplify the transformational effect of the generic midlife transits. So some of the major sacred timings are related to these planets as follows. Pluto is about transforming fear into empowerment. The challenge here is a need to face our fears of loss. And so this is a really big energy to move through. Saturn is about stepping into our personal authority, developing maturity and mastery. Now, the challenge is that we could face issues with external authority figures when we don't fully own our own authority. Neptune is about our connection to divine creator energy. The challenge here is that it could cause disillusionment with what we have created in our life so far, especially ego-based creations. Chiron is about stepping into our unique gifts that can help others. But the challenge here is that we do need to resolve the pain of the past and any feelings of inadequacy in order to transform it into the gift. Uranus brings access to our unique genius and authentic skills and allows for accelerated awakening, but it works through unexpected events that may feel chaotic if we are not fully present and focused. And finally, Jupiter is about our connection to our higher self, higher purpose, but it could easily expand the negative in our life if we focus on that. Now, the reason that midlife crisis is predictable, or at least that many will experience some form of transition in their life during this time, is due to the predictability of these transits. Everyone will go through some form of these transits in their midlife years. We have the Pluto square and the Neptune square in our late 30s, then then Uranus and Saturn oppositions in our early 40s, Uranus going over Chiron at the same time. That is why, if you understand the energy of these transits and the challenges that they may bring up, you can work with them consciously to receive their gift. Now, transits can bring about global change as well as personal change. When planets transit through a zodiac sign, they are bringing forth access to the energies of that sign. Now, this energy will be felt collectively and may be felt personally if you have planets in that position, which is often felt as a call for change. A key thing to remember is that transits don't dictate your life. You're not at the effect of these transits or these energies. How you choose to use your life force energy as you're going through these transits will inform what outcome will result. And that in turn will inform the collective expression of that sign. So who you choose to be is what gets you in alignment with life purpose and your authentic expression. Don't be someone else, be you. This is what midlife transits seek to do. They seek to align you with your authentic expression. And remember that your free will choice in how you choose to engage with these energies is what determines the outcome, personally as well as globally, because you are also a conduit for the expression of those energies. Ultimately, the purpose of any transit is to help you resolve your old expression and create your new self, a higher expression. It can be a very hard opening time of life and a major checkpoint in alignment to life purpose. So to summarize, during midlife transits, you experience situations which call for change, which in turn reveal patterns and bring you to crossroads in your life. Now let's dive deeper into this. Here are some things that you may notice when you are being activated by a transit. Now this figure, assume this figure is you and this is your natal chart, which holds clues to your soul's intent. And you're going about your life, living your life day to day, possibly at a frantic pace, and then a transit happens. Something in the sky lights up something in your natal chart, and that results in change. It depends on the specific transits that you're going through, and we will examine the specific energy of each of the transits in the upcoming modules in sacred timings. But transits usually show up as a call for change. And remember, they are the turning point. They're turning the page to a new chapter in your life. So that equates to some form of change. It could be career, relationships, health, or any other area of your life that may be affected. You may see that the change is coming, that something is shifting, and may even see it as inevitable. Or the change may happen suddenly, it may take you by surprise, and that can make you feel powerless. Some transits can bring up radical change in your life. Changes in responsibility are also possible. You may notice now that you have to suddenly take care of a lot more things, and this can bring up a feeling of heaviness. There could be loss of stability. You may feel like your foundations are shifting, and that may also bring up feelings of powerlessness. There could be mental changes where you feel distracted, fatigued, stressed, or anxious. There could be emotional changes where many transits do tend to bring up intense emotions. Triggers in relationships may be amplified. You may feel discouragement, disillusionment, grief, anger, fear, worry, anxiety, sadness. Now, all kinds of emotions can be churned out. And you may either feel numb to emotions or you may feel them as too much. You may also notice repeating patterns showing up, repeating challenges in relationships or career or health. Now, this repeating patterns is a big clue that something is coming up to be resolved. And it's very useful to pay attention to this because midlife transits will give you an opportunity to break these old patterns. Unresolved emotions may come up to be dealt with, and they're often linked to the patterns. Finally, these transits may bring you to crossroads. You may come to accept that something in your life needs to change. And now there are infinite possibilities that result from this point, infinite futures that are possible. But two are most prominent. One is that the status quo continues, and that the pattern that you are seeing, that you're experiencing, it may continue. You may revert to old habits, addictions, and coping mechanisms that make you feel safe. This may lead to feeling unfulfilled over time. The other possibility is that you exercise your free will choice to move yourself in a different direction towards a new place, one that is more aligned to your truth and power and authenticity, towards your higher essence and who you are meant to become. A key thing to recognize here is that your free will choice matters a great deal here. Your default life force energy, that is your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and actions, determine what choice you will make and the outcome that you will experience. So let's talk about what is sacred about these midlife timings. So when you're going through change in your life, you need an effective way to deal with it. Remember, the outer planetary transits are a strategy that the soul uses to ignite your authentic expression. Your soul means serious business. And so most likely you cannot ignore this change or sweep it under the rug or hope that it'll go away or tackle it after your kids grow up. You need to deal with it now. And here are some things to keep in mind and heart as you go through this time. The first one is to let go of dualistic judgment about the experience that you're currently having, whether it is good or bad, whether you're right or wrong. Instead, hold the larger cosmic soul perspective that every transit works to reveal my authentic expression, and if I resist, I make it harder for myself. Then the second thing is ask the key question. Who am I supposed to become as a result of this change? This question is really key. Who do I need to be to create the life I want? Your intense desire to step into your full potential will guide you through those challenges. The third point is to be aware of the shadow. The shadow of the energy of the transits is real and it shows up as resistance and sabotaging patterns. And it is this resistance and self-sabotage tendencies that keep us stuck in repeating, looping patterns over lifetimes. We will cover these shadow energies in every gateway in the future modules of Sacred Timings. Every transit's energy will range from the negative way it expresses to the higher essence. Now let's take an example of Gemini. Gemini is about vibration, communication, expression. The distorted way that it can show up is that too much communication leads to noise. You cannot discern between what is true and false. But the higher essence of Gemini is that it is communicating in a clean and clear way that inspires and uplifts. Now, the shadow of Gemini refers to the hidden and suppressed parts of this energy, a quality that may have been rejected or suppressed. Passive aggressiveness is a shadow aspect of Gemini, where the communication is not direct, but it shows up in hidden ways. Let's take another example of Leo. A higher quality of Leo is comfort with being in the spotlight. A negative way that it shows up is wanting the spotlight because you feel insecure without it. Now, say you see someone being in the spotlight and you feel critical of them being in the spotlight. It could be because that this energy is in shadow within you and you want to be seen and you're not fully owning what it takes to do so. So you find a way to downplay it or judge it in yourself or in others. Working consciously to integrate the shadow can help reclaim a massive amount of hidden energy. And this paves the way for your authentic gifts to come through. This is what creates wholeness and heals fragmentation. Now, during the times of transits, the negative and shadow aspects of these energies may feel heightened, and that is exactly what is coming up to be transformed. These are the unresolved karmic patterns that need resolution. Now, it can feel like a pressure-filled time. In fact, even with just one transit, it feels like a lot to handle, and more than one can really amplify the intensity. But these timings are chosen by the soul as a strategy for accelerated evolution. Usually, when we experience more than one transit at a time, they are working in tandem from different angles to bring resolution to unresolved stuff. So that is why understanding these energies and proactively resolving the shadow helps to reduce the intensity of the energy and helps you to walk more consciously through it so that you can experience the gift of these energies. These planets work in tandem to help us reach our soul's potential. Now, life force mastery is key. That's the fourth point here. Keeping your life force energy clean and clear is vital during transits and really at all times in life. Remember that transits bring up karmic patterns for resolution, and this gets amplified during key transits of your life. And karma is nothing but distorted life force energy, thoughts, emotions, physical stuff. The consequences of having used your life force energy in a certain way is what leads to karma. So transits bring awareness of where things are misaligned through uncomfortable situations or discomfort or challenges in relationships, career, health. It is possible to resolve the patterns in this lifetime if you can see how you are creating these patterns through how you choose to use your life force energy. You can choose to work on your part and let go of what you can't control. And in fact, that is just, even that is huge. Just choosing to work on your part is enough. And this is where life force mastery comes in, where you are purifying your life force energy and respecting its use with intention. This is key to successfully navigating these gateways. Finally, I want to emphasize that these timings, transits, whatever you choose to call them, are a sacred time. Transits affect you at a cellular level. That moment in time when you were born is connected via your DNA to this present moment. So when a transit activates your chart, we tend to feel it in our bodies at the cellular level. And that is why so many people awaken during transits. Transits are co-creations with life rather than reacting to life. Your free will matters absolutely. Now, this brings us to the sacred part of these timings. What makes it so sacred when you're going through intense challenges? As you purify your life force energy, you start to uncover your authentic sacred expression. As you start to perceive new possibilities, you start to write a new chapter, a new story, and you're now able to access treasures deep within you. You're able to enable new skills, unlock new superpowers, and activate the gift of joyful, authentic expression. You reconnect with a sense of aliveness again where your unique expression is coming through. Now, doesn't this sound like a sacred time? That's why one of my key practices is to recognize and acknowledge that these gateways are periods of initiation that align with soul's intent. And they invite in the highest, I invite in the highest essence of the energy of the transit always, because they awaken a new consciousness within you. Now let's look at the cost of not working with these timings, transits, gateways consciously. And that usually happens when our life force energy use is distorted. So this would refer to back in that previous diagram over here, it refers to the piece where the status quo continues. What's the cost of not working consciously with a transit? Now, what happens in this case is that the effect of distorted life force energy amplifies over time with subsequent transits, leading to what we call as midlife crisis. And here are some possible outcomes. The first is distorted mental energy. where there's mental overwhelm, the mind is scattered all over the place, there's a lack of focus, not making progress on what you want. There could be confusion, lack of clarity, which can lead to wrong decisions or misaligned decisions. The other possibility is distorted emotional energy, where we may feel emotionally dissatisfied even if we have achieved conventional success. And it could feel like life has lost its juice. It may feel like you're stuck in the negative at, whether you're stuck in negativity, whether at work, home, or other areas of your life. It could also affect harmony in relationships. Relationships could be unsatisfying. You may feel powerless, like people are walking all over you, and you may not feel honored or valued. There could be a lack of authenticity, where you feel like you're stuck behind a facade, where you're portraying a false self. And this over time leads to lack of aliveness. Now, lack of authentic expression creates misaligned lives. And this results in self-doubt, and self-doubt amplifies as self-trust erodes. Finally, we may have distorted actions where we are doing things not important in the long run. You could be stuck in a job that is no longer a fit, unable to progress further. You may be unenthusiastic about your career. You may not enjoy your work and not be able to see a path ahead, so you feel stuck. You may find yourself moving away from life purpose, where there might be confusion about your purpose in life, what you're born to do, and there may be no energy to pursue something new due to burnout. You may feel disconnected from nature, which amplifies the distortions in the mental and emotional energy because it disconnects us from natural rhythms and cycles. Now, this may sound dire, but so often people are facing one or more of these situations, and they may take it for granted that this experience is normal instead of recognizing that there is something you can do about it. Now, let's look at the gift of working with these transits consciously. What are the benefits of walking through each of these transits with conscious intention? Once you take charge of your life force energy and you start to direct your mental and emotional energy in a conscious way, you not only start to get out of old stuck patterns, but other gifts start to reveal themselves. And you learn these essential skills that I've mentioned here that benefit you for life. The first one is life force mastery. As a result of this, you have clarity in your thoughts and emotions, both mental and emotional life force, and that reveals your authenticity. You might develop the ability to focus on what matters, ability to prioritize, and this skill alone is hugely beneficial to your personal growth and your happiness. It brings a greater understanding of yourself and energy, mind, emotions, motivations, and enables you to be more in tune with your authentic self. Then the emotional life force energy, the default emotional life force expands. You're able to transform and dissolve heavy, dense emotions like shame, anger, grief, doubt, fear, self-judgment, and self-criticism. You develop the skills to courageously face your shadow side and embrace parts of you that you have rejected. So you have access to all of you and your gifts. And this helps to eliminate sticky patterns. It helps us to get unstuck from old patterns because you're reclaiming lost parts of yourself, your life force energy, and moving on to a higher expression. The next one, which is huge, is trust in your own self. You're able to access the gift of darkness, which are the times of change when clarity is lacking because you trust in yourself. You develop the strength and courage to go through the dark. And what I mean by the dark is simply a time in your life when the path ahead is not lit by external lights, and you need to rely on your deep inner resources to navigate life. And for this, you absolutely need trust in yourself. This gives you access to courage, joy, and internal peace during challenging times. And honestly, this is priceless. Your trust in your own self, your abilities, and confidence in navigating through the dark skyrockets. As a result, you develop resilience. You're able to see opportunities and develop the courage to go on to new paths. And this is really important if you want to live your potential. The next benefit of walking through transits consciously is that you're able to stand strong and empowered in relationships. First, you strengthen your relationship with your own self. When you change, your relationships change. They become stronger. You feel clear, empowered, and there's mutual honor and respect that infuses your connections. You can be the light in the dark for others as well. The next benefit is that you develop the power to stand in your authenticity. When you trust yourself, the need for approval from others diminishes. You eliminate self doubt, you transform the inner critic to hear your inner guidance more clearly. You develop faith and trust in yourself and your uniqueness fully, and you know what your superpowers are. And you accept yourself and your power more. You really reclaim your power. This accelerates your personal growth by cutting through the illusions and connecting to your own truth. Falseness falls away. You align with your true self as the false self dissolves. And this gives you clarity for your path ahead. And finally, this results in a strong resonance in your voice. All of this results in a strong, confident voice and the delivery of your unique thoughts. You speak and communicate with clarity of thought, certainty of self, and confidence of speech. And when you speak your truth, your core identity comes through, not the wounded part, but your core identity, that connection to divinity and that creator self comes through. And this authentic self is a gift to the world. Finally, this results in harmony and an incredible ability to connect with nature, with elements, with the rhythms of nature and the cosmos, and that brings harmony into your life. Now let's talk about the synergistic effect of transits. All transits work together as a soul strategy for evolution. In this course, we are proactively and consciously going to work with your energy through each outer planet. The transits related to these celestial bodies may happen at different times in our life, but often we experience them simultaneously, either two or more activating at different times but coinciding for a period of months. This is very clearly seen during midlife because we often face many such transits at the same time during that time of our life. Pluto relentlessly brings an end to what is not in integrity with our soul, what is old and outdated. As part of this, there's a lot of letting go, surrendering what is not working, and bravely facing the fear and grief of things coming to an end. But as that fear dissolves, we start to get empowered to take new steps forward. Chiron, if Chiron is happening at the same time, it helps to face the hurt and fragmentation with deep compassion and courage. And in doing so, it awakens our innate gifts. Saturn then comes along and says, take responsibility for living your soul's promise. There is finite time in your life on earth, and use your time and energy wisely, use your resources wisely, be disciplined, step up and do the work to build a strong foundation for the rest of your life. With the pain healed and the fear reduced, it is easier to step up and move into a new expression. These transits, when worked with consciously, they help us birth something new, our new self. Now, working with all three together gets us in touch with a deep source of power that is authentic and true. If through compassion we are able to do the work of alchemizing the wound, awaken our soul authority, and start invoking the courage within, we can break out of long-held patterns and really give our higher expression the best opportunities for flourishing. And this is what we are intending in this full Sacred Timings course. Finally, I would like to invite you to the full Sacred Timings course where we will explore 7 gateways to authenticity. And for each of these outer planets, Pluto and Chiron, which is an asteroid, not a planet, but a celestial body nonetheless, and Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, we will cover all of these things for each of them. We will look at the role of that celestial body in soul evolution, its signature energy and higher essence. We will look at the outer way that the energy manifests, and, which is more important, the hidden way in which it may undermine your conscious self. We will dive deep into the challenges which result in power leaks and energy leaks and challenges. We will look at the impact that they have on relationships, career, life purpose, and authenticity. Then we will go into the gifts bestowed by these bodies when you work with them consciously and the 3 skills to develop in each of them. We will dive deep into lots of sacred practices to transform the challenges into the gifts. And there's also a midlife manifesto that helps guide you through the challenging times and a meditation to help cross the bridge from the challenge to the gifts. And here I want to share with you why Sacred Timings matters so much to me. This course is born from my own in-depth experience and learnings working with each of these outer planetary transits over the past 10 years. My astrology journey started in 2015, and it took me on a journey of deep soul transformation. Then in 2017, I came to know about this very rare transit that everyone was talking about in the astrology world that would change the path of humanity. And you may remember this very rare transit of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 2244 degrees of Capricorn on Jan 12, 2020. Well, now we know what a life-changing time that was, that early period of 2020, and with the pandemic and everything that resulted since then. Now, back in 2017, I had happened to check my own chart, and to my shock, I saw that I had my natal Mars at that very same degree. That realization hit home hard because it showed me that my soul meant business, that this was not an ordinary transit, but something to take very seriously, and that it was actually a gateway to resolve old chapters, old lifetimes, and move into a new way of being. Now, I was already on a path of transformation of my consciousness at the time, but the commitment to my higher self increased greatly then, and I went on a deep exploration of working with these energies very intentionally, which then resulted in an explosion of creativity and alignment with my authentic self. And this is what I share in the comprehensive Sacred Timings course. I want to emphasize that your soul means business too. The choices we make consciously or unconsciously during big power portals like these transits makes a big difference to the outcome. Transits open up new pathways, awaken new aspects of your personality, and give your soul a way to freedom. Now, Sacred Timings is for you if you are between the ages of 35 and 65, and you may have transits activating your chart like Pluto, Chiron, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, or Uranus. Or you may be navigating change in career, relationships, health. You may be brilliant, driven, creative, and really looking for meaning and purpose and authenticity in everything that you do. Living your life purpose is becoming very important to you. Or you may be a coach or mentor helping others navigate big transformation. And so you will learn so much about how to support them through big changes in their lives. Now, please know that you do not need to know astrology to benefit from this course. I share everything in a very simplified way that allows you to apply this knowledge and wisdom to your own life, whether you know astrology or not. For more information, if you're interested, and to find out when the content will be released, check out activateyourtruthandpower.com/workwithme/courses. And as we come to the end of this video, I want to share a blessing from my muse of playful brilliance, Painting Bird. Here is what she says. Sacred timings are a way that your soul calls you home. Don't be fooled by the challenges you may need to face. Let the path be lit by the skills you'll need to hone, and let its higher essence guide you through with grace. Thank you. May this journey reveal to you your own beautiful, authentic expression, and may you have the courage to follow that path with an open heart. Thank you. Bye.